What's good, YouTube? Fuck, I did the wrong intro again. How's it going, everybody? It's Aurora YGO here, coming at you with another video because I just wanted to spew something out here because this channel gets a lot of views. And also because I want to start getting a little bit more back into Yu-Gi-Oh! Again. I'm starting to look at more things to become a better player. I still haven't won a locals in 3 years. So anyways, today we're going to be looking at a, ironically, Kali effect generated tier list of the best hand traps, and I am going to rank this for the May and slightly June 2021 format. So it has come to my attention that the next ban list isn't until July. I thought it was June 1st, but no, July 1st. So this is going to be a really long format, and I figured, I actually haven't seen any hand trap tier lists so far for this this format, except for maybe one from Kali himself. But I wanted to state my opinions on it based on what I've seen and, how all my stuff works out. And so, yeah, let's go ahead and get right into it. So first off, we have the Ally of Justice guy, and I'm immediately putting this in the Jesus Christ, you're dumb category. I changed these, by the way, because I didn't want to just straight rip it. So the Jesus Christ, you're dumb category applies to hand traps that, man, if you run them, Jesus Christ, you're dumb. So right now, this card just isn't very good. There aren't very many good light targets to banish in the grave right now. A lot of people are playing this against Drytron and even in Drytron and everything. But really, it doesn't do much to any of the current top decks. Prank Kids has no light monsters. Dinosaur, the only fucking light monster is like Tyranno. Yeah, that's like about it. Unless Archosaur is light. I'm playing fucking Dinos again, and I already forgot. Is Archosaur a light or an Earth? But whatever, it really doesn't matter. Yeah, really, this is just kind of a worse DD Crow right now, and so I really don't see a point in running it. But a much better light-involving monster is Lancia. Yeah, this card is actually insane. So the practically mandatory/mandatory category means you best be running it, otherwise, Jesus Christ, you're dumb. Because, wow, Lancia just works against everything except Prank Kids right now. Tri-Brigade, the Invoked fucking mixtures, Eldritch, Dinosaur, Dragon Link, literally every meta deck but Prank Kids in this format right now just gets Thanos snapped by Lancia. And, especially if they run the pot cards as well, because if you just activate a Lancia during standby, even the pot cards in their hand are dead, so the things that they can use to get around Lancia, they don't have. So this card's gotten so good to the point where everyone and their grandmother, including me, has started maining it, and I suggest you do too, at least for this format, because there's really no outs to Lancia unless you have, Gamma. So, yeah, I definitely go ahead and recommend running 3 Lancia in the main. This card's actually insane, and yeah, as it says, practically mandatory. So next up on our list, we have Ash Blossom. I'm going to go ahead and slide this into the really good category. So I'm actually not making it practically mandatory like I would in a different format, because right now, Ash doesn't do all too much. So Prank Kids dies in their tracks, if they don't have a chain block or an extender. So, there's that at least. But, Ash against Dragon Link doesn't really do much. Ash against Tri-Brigade doesn't always do very much because they usually have extenders as well. Really only, a few certain situations Ash is good in, if they don't have an extender. And so I actually found myself citing this out. It was in my side deck in Dragon Link, so that was actually really interesting. So, this is a really good card, but, if you don't have to main it, I wouldn't say main it. Definitely cite it, though, if you have the room for it, because, it's still a really good card, but it's not that, it's not at its peak like it usually is. So, it's still really good. Definitely consider playing it, but it's not, broken like it sometimes is. Next up, we have Chaos Hunter. I'm putting this in the Jesus Christ, you're dumb category. There's just no real point in playing it right now. It's not that great. So now we have DD Crow. So DD Crow is an interesting case, actually, because I'm usually against playing DD Crow because I'm just oh, it's not that great of a card. But I'm going to put it in the underrated category because it can stop certain decks. So a lot of the times, when I'm playing Dinosaur and I'm playing against either a niche player or a good player. Oh, by the way, Tri-Brigades can search this. Just be warned. But DD Crow, you can just stop Misk Engrave. Like, literally, they can be like, okay, activate Misk, and then the opponent can just be like, okay, chain DD Crow target Misk. Well, fuck, if you don't have the other copy of Misk in hand, then, you know, there's really not much you can do. You can stop some of the stuff, like, you can get rid of some of the stuff in Prank Kid's grave, to stop them from adding it back later, or specialing it. Like, oh my god, if they, like, Poly or Pandemonium into a Rocket Ride, and, and, like, you banish one of the Prank Kids in grave, then, I mean, their Rocket Ride's dead until they go into the Dodo, which is really funny. But it's better to just use it on something else. But, yeah, DD Crow, oh yeah, Tri-Brigades too. If they have a certain amount of guys in grave they want to banish for a certain link, you can just, like, banish one of them, and now they have less resources to work with. So, very good card. It's definitely underrated, as this category says. And, you know, I feel like not enough people are utilizing it, though it's not, like, a mandatory staple. It's not something that's like Lancia or Ash, where, like, everyone's going to be caught playing it in their side deck, but still a pretty good card nonetheless, and I think it could see a little bit more use right now. Next, we have Dimension Shifter. I'm going to put this in very situational, because, like, a lot of decks, they don't die entirely to Dimension Shifter, and also, you know, you got to have the no cards in grave and everything. I don't feel like it's a card really worth citing, because, I don't know. Like, the thing is, it doesn't really work too well against Dinosaur. It doesn't really work too well against something like Virtual World. It's just really kind of eh. You know, it's whatever. Tri-Brigade kind of, like, you know, I feel like it might kill them, but, you know, it really depends on the deck you're playing as well. So with that, Dimension Shifter is just going to go into the very situational category. I haven't seen it being used very much. Droll and Lockbird, mandatory. This card is actually insane. I love Droll. I even made it in Dinosaurs. It's just that good. Like, it literally stops every deck this format right now. Like, with the exception of sometimes Dinosaur, because if they only need to get the Archosaur search off, then they're fine. But, like, other than that, literally Droll stops everything, and I don't understand why not as many people are maining it, compared to, like, they'll main Ash, but they won't main Droll, you know? Especially in a situation like this. You know, Droll is just really good against everything. I mean, Eldritch kind of survives, but still, like, whatever. Droll is very good. Effect Veiler, I'm just going to put it in Jesus Christ, You're Dumb, because it's worse in Perm. It can be negated by more things, and that's really all there is to say about it. Evenly. So, I feel like Evenly is definitely a very underrated card right now, even more so than DD Crow, actually. I'm just going to go ahead and, like, bump that up. But I do feel like, Evenly is very, very underrated right now, because if you can find space for it in your side, along with Dark Ruler No More, you can, like, go against a Dragon Link or any other combo player, slap a Dark Ruler down, battle phase, end of battle phase evenly. What are they going to do? Like, actually, what are they going to do? Because if you're going in something like Dragon Link, they'll most likely keep the spheres, so that they can still tribute it, even though the effect won't resolve, the tribute effect will. Which, I mean, by then, you can just, whatever they summon, you can set up a board to get through it, right? Like, if you're playing something like Dino, I mean, you can just, like, immediately just cock slap them. It's amazing. But Evenly is definitely a card that I feel like should see a bit more play in side decks, if you can fit it. Like, side decks are very tight right now. So, I don't know. I feel like Evenly is just a very, very underrated card. Fantasma, you know, I'll put it in really good. Like, it's a pretty good card. I'm not going to put it in mandatory, though, but the thing is with Fantasma is, right, a lot of people are playing it now because of Dragon Link, and because, you know, they're going to link into a few things before they can get the negates up. Just go ahead and special Fantasma. Get, like, kind of a hand recycle. But the thing is, with Fantasma, is that more often than not, it really doesn't matter what they draw and put back. Because unless they're drawing that fat Dark Ruler No More, there's really nothing they can do to stop you. Or, like, maybe a nib, right? But by then, I mean, if Dragon Link board's already set up, like, 3 links, I mean, one of them's almost guaranteed going to be a Spheres. So, like, if you nib, then whatever. So, I don't know. I feel like, you know, it's pretty good because you can draw into things like nib or Dark Ruler, but still, I feel like it's not as good as people are kind of making it out to be. A lot of people are saying, oh, I'm main decking 3 Fantasma for Dragon Link, and I'm just like, why? Most decks don't link that many times in this format, so yeah, Fantasma, pretty good card, but it's not that great. Null Nun is bad. Moving on. So, Ghost Bell, I'm going to put it in very situational. I don't want to put it in Jesus Christ, You're Dumb, because it's not a bad card, but it is very situational for Ghost Bell to be good, because a lot of the times hitting one thing in grave or that moves something from grave isn't going to be that great. I mean, what are you going to do? Hit Pissy? Ooh, no, not Pisty, anything but that. So, you know, Ghost Bell, it's an okay card. Not this format, though. This format in particular, one Ghost Bell isn't going to do much, and you're much better off just playing different hand traps. This chick is bad. Just worse Veiler. Moving on. Ghost Ogre, that's definitely something that's very situational. Probably a bit better than Ghost Bell, at least, though, and Dimension Shifter. But Ghost Ogre, I actually really like as a card. I always find a place in my side deck for it, because there's a lot of rogue decks, especially, that can die really easily to Ogre, because if a field spell activates its effect, or something like that, or a really good continuous spell, they try to use the effect and you Ogre it, or even like a monster, or right, you know, it just, they're dead. Like, they're really just dead. And against something like Zodiac, actually, normal rat, okay, Ogre, dead. Like, there's nothing they can do there. Tri-Brigade, they don't have the Karis in hand, summon a bitch, activate effect, dead. Which, I mean, they will get the effect, obviously. They're going to be able to summon a Link, but still, they're kind of just dead still, unless they summon, like, the fucking barrier statue. But I really do feel like Ogre is a good card. It's never main deck worthy. It's never a good card for adding in your main, but I feel like it's a good, maybe 2-off in your side deck. But it is, again, very situational. It really depends on the format. Right now, I mean, stopping Cursed Eldland can be nice, or some other things, but still, I think it's a good hand trap nonetheless. No material, very situational, I guess, at the bottom of it. Like, I'm not going to say it's a bad card, because, I mean, like, depending on the deck, like, I feel like using this against Prank Kids would be really funny, because they, like, normal summon, activate no material. Now they can't go into Meow Meow if they don't have the extender. What are they going to do? But it's definitely not something that I would really consider myself. I know a lot of people have opted to drop it from their side after, like, the Infernoble format, and that's about it. So, yeah, overall, not awful, but very, very situational. Kind of funny, though. The Heralds, this is very situational, just depends on if you're playing a fairy deck, and then these two are just not that great. I mean, my friend Giovanni's on the channel a few times. He's starting to play Madolche, and this is a really good card in there. It's really good in Drytron as well, but Drytron's not that good right now. And other than that, yeah, it's very situational, and it also is very situational on the deck you're playing. Imperm. I'm going to put Imperm in the really good category, because I feel like that Imperm is still a very good card right now, because, let's see. Going against Tri-Brigade, Imperm, they lose all their resources in Grave, and now they can't really do anything. Going against Prank Kids, they summon the Dodo, you Imperm that, and then they lose a little bit of advantage there. Going against Dinosaur going second, Imperm the Dolka, boom, they lose a lot of coverage. Imperm to Zolkian against Virtual World, they kind of just lose everything. And then my favorite thing is that everyone's complaining about Winda right now, just Imperm the Winda. It's really not that hard. Like, Imperm, I don't know about seeing it in the main anymore, unless you're playing a trap deck natively like Eldritch, but I feel like it's a very, very good side deck card, because it can stop a lot of one-card starter decks, and then also Floodgates, like monster Floodgates, like Kaliga, Winda, all of them. Like, you can stop them so easily. And, like, I hate to be the kind of guy that's just like, oh, MST Mystic Mine, right? But it's like, when it comes to something like Winda that everyone is complaining about right now, just play Imperm. Like, Imperm is definitely better than saying, oh, just play MST lol. But, because, like, Imperm can work on so many things. It can also, like I said, stop one-card starters. It can also stop extenders. It can stop so many things, and I feel like a lot of people are kind of just taking Imperm for granted and not seeing how good of a card it really is. Misk. Mandatory. Broken. Moving on. Nib. I'm going to put this in practically mandatory because it does hit a lot of things. It does hit Prank Kids if they don't get the Toad out. It does hurt Tri-Brigade sometimes, depending on the build. Not good against Eldritch or, like the Shadal decks or anything like that. Dragon Link, it's still really good even if they do get the spheres out, because depending on how far you let them extend, you know, it can make them lose a lot of resources. But Nibiru is still really good against combo decks nonetheless, especially against something that's Rogue, Rest in Peace Fluffles, because you can't go into fucking Calamity Summon number 3. But, yeah, Nibiru is still a really good card. I'm putting it at the lower end of practically mandatory because it's not something I would main deck anymore, but definitely a good side deck choice nonetheless. Gamma. I'm going to put this in really good, not practically mandatory anymore, because a lot of decks, like, die less to Gamma than they used to, based on, like, how the meta's shaping up and everything, but it's still something you can main deck. I'm actually going to put this up here above. Let me just resort that a little bit. Gamma's definitely something you can still main deck, like, for sure. It's still really good if you need another hand trap option, but oh my god, I draw Driver like once every match. Seriously, it's awful. It's really good in Dragon Link, though, because you can discard one off Chaos Space, and you can add Gamma back from your banish to your deck with fucking Chaos Space. It's hilarious. But yeah, Gamma's still a really good card. A lot of decks are still, like, kind of dead against it. But a lot of them, you know, they can still, like, play around Gamma. And overall, it's lost its luster, like, in the past 2 formats, but still a very good card nonetheless. Saravis. No. Jesus Christ, no. Skullmeister. I mean, very situational. I'll put it, like, here. Like, I feel like Skullmeister, you know, stopping one activation in Grave isn't as good as, like, using something like Abyss Dweller. And it's not really going to kill most decks. So, moving on. Ghost Reaper. Man, I used to love using Reaper so much. This card was so fucking funny. I'm going to put it at the very low of very situational. Because, hear me out, if you're playing a control deck, right? I mean, yeah, you'd probably rather use Extravagance. But using Ghost Reaper is still funny as fuck. Because, like, say you're playing against a combo deck, hit Hulk. Boom. You win. Or if you're worried about things like Window, which, I mean, you're playing a control deck, like, I don't really understand why you do that, but, like, you can still hit Window. You can hit so many things, and it's still really good if you really want to play it. And then Saravis, unfortunately, it's not that great. The very first Starlight I ever pulled, though, and the only one so far, so that's really funny. But I think that's gonna have to do it for my tier list. Let me know what you think about it in the comments below. Please don't have a massive dislike to like ratio as my last tier list. I don't know why, but everyone was really salty about that. But I feel like this is a pretty, I feel like this is a pretty good tier list, like, if you have your own opinions, go ahead and tell me in the comments down below. Maybe you think Gamma's practically mandatory. Maybe you think that Nibiru isn't that great. You just put it down really good, whatever. But, again, just remember, this is my tier list. These are my opinions. Like I said, tell me in the comments below what yours are. And until then, I'll see you in the next one. This is Aurora, signing off.